Ba weep grana weep ninny bong Toonami faithful, and welcome back aboard Toonami Absolution, where we talk about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alex.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John, the Transformers, the movie, making its debut August 8th, 1986.
Why'd you pick it, John?
Yeah, this was me. Well, we did Armada last week, and we've done season one of Beast Wars, which is technically a sequel to this, and we're going to go back to Beast Wars in the future. And I just realised when editing, this comes up an awful lot in our discussions, and I've never actually seen it.
Oh man.
So I thought, you know what? Let's patch this hole in my pop culture knowledge so I can understand every third episode.
I'm so excited that you have watched this. I didn't know you had never seen the 86 movie, so I'm very excited.
I may have seen bits of it, but I've certainly never sat down again. Transformers was kids a little bit younger than me and then kids a little bit older than me. It just wasn't a big thing when I was growing up.
Yeah, I kind of
So
missed the slice because this movie premiered the weekend before I was born.
I
Your mother should have got busy to make sure you were born early as a kid.
Yeah, I was born the following Monday.
I would not be born for 5 years until after this movie released. However, it was a very important part of my existence. I remember watching this movie as a kid. As we all know, I love Transformers. I even came with props today because I have the original motion picture soundtrack on vinyl in its original pressing. But yeah,
A lot of bops.
oh my god. So where do we want to like summarize the movie first, or like?
If we're going to summarize the movie, you're going to have to do it because I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I can tell you what happens in scenes, but I can't tell you how we get from point A to point B.
Oh.
A lot of stuff happens in this film. Why it happens, I'm slightly confused about.
So before Alex kind of dives into the synopsis, I will say this is probably my favorite of all the Transformers media, and I have consumed quite a bit of Transformers media, not as much, over the years.
No one.
Transformers, the movie, is probably my favorite. Revisiting it, it's super 80s, right down to said soundtrack. Um, the animation feels like, I mean, Toei Animation was one of the companies behind it. It feels like kind of Mobile Suit Gundam Wing at times, and then other times not as much. And there's only really, it's got one of the absolutely stacked voice cast. There is one scene every time that takes me out of that movie. Before we dive into what happens in the Transformers the movie, can you guess what that one scene is?
Is it Dare to Be Stupid?
Sure is, right on the first try.
I love that scene. So there's later on, they go to a planet, is the Junkions they call the
The
Junkatrons,
Junkions.
who are voiced by Eric Idle, but they're all dressed like Fu Manchu. And
Uh-huh.
I love the scene because they come up, they all start fighting. Then two dudes appear and start talking, do the universal greeting, which we use at the beginning. And they start dancing. And then they put one of their friends back together and they have this whole thing of, oh, we've saved Ultra Magnus. And then someone goes, but the Matrix is gone. And we all get sad again. It's like for a brief 5 minutes, everyone forgot the world is ending. And then the Junkion's just like, oh, yeah, whatever his name is. What's the big planet-y dude?
Oh.
Unicron?
Unicron. Yeah, they're like oh, he's at Unicron. Oh, God, we should go kill him. And they're like, yeah, actually, we're not busy. We're going to go kill a guy. We're down to murder. It's also funny. It's Eric Idle. Of all people, it's like I'm going to play the murderers.
We do have an insanely stacked voice cast. Before I summarize, we have Leonard Nimoy, we have Orson Welles, we have the guy who won the competition for being the fastest talker in America. We have
Casey Kasem.
We have Casey Kasem, because Casey Kasem, up until a certain episode of the season 2 of Transformers, did participate quite heavily in Transformers. We have Scatman Crothers. We have Buster Jones. There's a lot of good voice talent happening here, and it is
Yeah.
we have that one guy from The Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
We should know we don't just have Orson Welles. We have Orson Welles literally 3 days before he dies.
Yeah.
Like this is the last thing Orson Welles did.
So to summarize
so
the movie,
lucky. Yeah.
To be so lucky. Summarize the movie opens up on Unicron devouring a planet, which is what a gorgeous scene that is actually quite scary for a kid's movie. Then we go back to the Autobots and the Decepticon war has expedited itself. The Decepticons have taken over Cybertron. The Autobots are on the back foot. It's the far off future year of 2005. Uh, so basically, the owners of Transformers, Hasbro, decided that they needed more toys. So we needed to kill off a vast majority of the cast before season 3 so we could get more toys. And that is a big reason for this movie existing. But we start off there. A bunch of your favorite Autobots end up dying. However, not my favorite Autobot. He ends up making it through the movie. But that leads to the Autobots scattering, trying to open the matrix of leadership so that they can win the fight. Megatron ends up very heavily damaged in this fight, and Starscream do what Starscream do, and decides that he is now the leader of the Decepticons, kicks Megatron out of Astro Train, and Megatron, Thundercracker, and Skywarp get picked up by Unicron, turned into his heralds a la Galactus, and then we get the rest of the movie leading up to the moment where Hot Rod, then becoming Hot Rodimus Prime, opens the matrix of leadership and becomes a Prime and saves the day up until we get to season 3 of the show, which takes place after this. I am very excited to talk about this movie because I love this movie. I don't even know where to start because it's fun. There's a lot of great stuff happening. There's a lot of weird stuff happening. It opens up the universe of Transformers a lot, and it's so consequential. And of course, it has the death of Optimus Prime, which is up there with the death of Spock for a lot of people.
Which is so funny.
It's also 1986, great year to be Leonard Nimoy because you had Star Trek 4 and you had the Transformers the movie.
Yeah. He would not be staying as Galvatron when they went to season 3.
He was in a hot tub going, it's all coming up, Bilbo.
Yeah.
To sort of pick up on the Death Optimus Prime, one, I did find it hilarious because Ultra Magnus later on gets just ripped apart and the Junkions put him back together and he's fine. And other people get thrown off cliffs and all this other stuff happens. So it makes Optimus look like an utter weakling. Gets shot once, gets sad and dies. He does like the Padme Amala. He gets a little bit sad. It's like, just walk it off. You're a robot. It's fine.
Don't worry, he comes back.
Oh, he does come back.
They all come back.
No one.
Okay. So maybe not the ones that get massacred in the shuttle, but yeah.
That's what Optimus does.
Optimus does. I want to bring up because this was to bring in new toys, and it was not a popular decision for the writers. The screenwriter Ron Friedman has a really fun interview where he's like, "I recognized that I needed to assign family identities to characters in order to create the recognition factor that young people need. They cannot verbalize this; it's beneath the surface. To remove Optimus Prime, to physically remove Daddy from the family, that wasn't going to work." I told Hasbro and their lieutenants that they would have to bring him back, but they said no and had great things planned. In other words, they were going to create new, more expensive toys. Yeah, his interview is basically, I kept telling them this was a terrible idea and no one would listen to me, and I was proven right.
I think something, and Alex can probably speak to this, and there are some of my friends that are a bit older than me that weren't born the week after this movie premiered, who did see it in theaters and had watched the first 2 seasons of Transformers when they aired. This was an eye-opening experience. This was, hey, your favorites. I hope you don't like Ironhide because he doesn't he goes out maybe the hardest. But how many Autobots are just not even don't even get the hero's death like Optimus, like the big duel like Optimus, which happens in the first 30 minutes, by the way. How casually are some of these Autobots killed?
Street like Ratchet, Ironhide, I think Wheeljack, oh god, Prowl getting shot the way he does is kind of wild. Like the thing to kind of remember is that at this point in movie history, PG-13 didn't exist yet. This is a PG movie. This was marketed for kids. There are a couple of scenes in this movie that are brutal. Like, even though they're robots, it's like the beatdown with Optimus Prime and Megatron is actually kind of brutal. Starscream shooting off his own foot is a little brutal. Like, Ironhide crawling up Megatron's leg and being like, no, and then Megatron just cold cock shooting him in the head is great. Especially when you remember that in season 2 of Transformers, there's a whole episode where Starscream and Megatron are riding on the back of of a mechanical purple griffin. That is a thing that happens. It's such a tone shift.
Love it. Love
What
it.
I especially love is wasn't even originally a PG. You'll note there, what the dad, when he's trying to pull the planet away, says, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
That was
They
literally
were allowed
because
one of those.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
allowed one of those.
you were allowed one of those, but they added it because they were worried it was going to get a G rating, which was considered the death knell for movies of the time. So this was going to be a G until they had the dad say shit.
Even though we
Crazy.
get like a genocide in the beginning of this movie, the only thing that takes me out of that scene is that they have the stock chomping noise inside of Unicron.
Yes, I love that. It's that, and also Megatron's gun goes. It's like a kind of splatter sound. It's so weird. You just hear it in some scenes, like, oh,
There's some weird little sound effects that happen throughout this movie, which are so weird when you compare them to the brute. Like, war is hell, obviously, but watching Ratchet and Ironhide and Prowl get shot the way that they do, and in such beautiful detail, like genuinely gorgeous detail. Like, it's kind of wild to me. There's a lot of stuff that also got left on the cutting room floor for this movie. You got to understand the version of the movie that came out is not the original script. There's so much that's missing in between because they had to shrink it down. Like, there was going to be this whole thing where Blaster was the leader of like the Autobot resistance in Autobot City. There was like going to be a bunch of other linking things, which is why the movie can feel a little disjointed, is that a lot got sent to the cutting room floor.
Yeah, this is a tight 85 minutes. This thing moves. I'm always surprised, and I know this movie, you know, quite a bit. I'm always surprised how early in the movie Optimus goes out.
Yeah. It's in the
You think
first
he would
30
be more of a
minutes.
yeah, you think he would be more of a presence, and it's like, no, no, we gotta make way. Old school's out. Got to make way for the new hotness.
that blew me
Hot
away. 'Cause
Rodimus.
The new
obviously,
hot Rodimus Prime.
obviously, I
Yeah.
knew Optimus died. I've picked up enough over the years to know Optimus dies in this film, and I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna die at the end. Like, that's when the hero dies. And it's like 30 minutes in, I'm like, well, we're killing him already? Am I watching like an abridged cut or something? Nope, still an hour to go.
Still an hour to go.
Ding
And
dong,
then we
the
get to
Optimus
see-
is dead.
And then we get to see a bunch of cool planets. Like, I love the Sharkticons. I love the Junkions. I like how expansive and weird this universe is, and they don't pull punches on how weird it is.
That
Yeah.
really confused me because there is so little transition. I didn't realize that we were going between the two planets. I was like, why is this guy suddenly tied up by fish? What's the linkage here? And then the weird floating head. It took me a while to work out, okay, we're cutting between this and
So the Quintessons.
the Quintessons, yeah, who are just a weird floating head.
Yes,
So-
the Quintessons, which is basically the second form of Dracula in Castlevania 3.
The Quintessons are going to become like important later in in some universes. The Quintessons actually made the Cybertronians, and then they shucked the yoke of slavery. And then had their own issues. That is one of the things. The Quintessons become a much bigger presence and a huge presence in season 3, actually.
So
So
it's
they're kind of
basically-
up with Galvatron as being
Yeah.
the antagonists in season 3.
Please
It's
tell me
essentially-
someone defeats them by throwing a lasso over them, pulling really hard so they become like a dreidel.
I do think that something like that happens at some point. Like, I do think one gets spun around very. It's been a minute since I've watched season 3.
I know what I'm watching next week.
Also, season 3 introduces us to a lot. Like, this movie introduces us to a lot of future fan favorites, characters like Cyclonus or Unicron in particular is a big one that people love. It's also because Unicron has one of the biggest Transformers toys that has ever been made. It's a gigantic. The original one is gigantic. It's up there with Metroplex. The Metroplex is 2 feet tall. So like this one, the Unicron toy is also around 2 feet tall, and I've been lusting after it my entire adult life.
Obviously, I was slightly sad that Unicron transformed.
When
I
he
liked
turns into
him
the
more.
devil version.
Yeah, I liked him more as a planet. I think it was a cooler, like, unknowable-y thing for him to be a giant munchy planet.
Well,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
robot Satan.
He's kind of like the Sun Eater from from, Superman comics or the Doomsday Machine from Star Trek. I do think one of the most metal things is they're like, at the end of the movie, they're blasting him from the inside and he like literally tears himself open to like
Yeah.
get at them.
This movie is proof that you can do things to robots that you cannot do to a fleshy human shaped thing in a movie. They were dumping different things in acid and you could see them
Oh, you see them
melting.
melt. You see them like visibly melt
Like
and painfully melt.
and that's why the comics are the way they are. If I'm not joking with you, there's like a moment in one of the comics where a character gets like cut in half lengthwise, and you just see all the mechanical parts like falling to the side. It's crazy the gore you get away with in the Transformers universe.
One thing that really caught about the whole thing is that so it's animated by Toei, and
Mm.
you'll see when you're inside Unicron, there's those screens. You'll see little flashes on them of an destroyed city. Those are paintings from Fist of the North Star, which
Yeah,
Toei were working on while making this. And then suddenly a lot of this film starts making sense when you realise that the animators were going between this and Fist of the North Star. It's like, oh, that's why everything is ruined and everything is horrible and everyone is dying.
so a lot of the main new characters we have Ultra Magnus, who is just there to make sure that everybody signed their hall pass. You have RC, who is modeled after Princess Leia.
Was RC new for this?
She's new for this. Like
Oh.
and that's why she's modeled after Princess Leia. She was very specifically modeled after her. You get Hot Rodimus Prime, who again is going to go on to being the biggest nuisance in the comics. And you get a Hound, who is, I believe, one of our first triple formers, if I'm not mistaken, which is actually very interesting.
I also
Besides
love
that,
I think it kind of underscores how grim this movie can be at times, enjoyably grim, if such a thing is possible. Um, when they execute Kranix. He's like, I'm the last of my kind, and they drag him off. And if it was like any other movie with like a sense of restraint, that would be it. You would just know that he's dead. But no, we're gonna show we're gonna show Kranix getting devoured by the Sharkticons.
What I was really curious about is they don't, because the whole thing is they put you over a pit and then judge you and then they drop you, regardless of the answer. But he falls off. Like he doesn't drop, he falls. I couldn't find out, was that a censorship thing that they didn't want to have them all drop? So like it was technically like his own fault in the eyes of the censors.
here's the thing. If there were anything in this movie that had restraint when it came to the violence, I don't know if that would be it. I feel like this was just like a stylistic choice more than anything else. Like, I do have to throw this out here also because we haven't talked much about it, but the soundtrack, you have Stan Bush, Dare, you got the touch. like,
So the touch, there's a fun, there's I think this is on the Wikipedia page. Like the touch was written for a different movie.
it was.
It was not written for Transformers. It was written for the Sylvester Stallone cop thriller Cobra, and he turned it down, which would make it the second iconic 80s song that Stallone turned down for one of his movies because um, The Best by Joey Esposito from Karate Kid 1 was originally written for Rocky 3, which is why in You're the Best they say history repeats itself, which doesn't really make sense in The Karate Kid because it's the first movie.
Yeah. There's just
Um,
there's just
yeah,
something
no,
about
but Dare to Be Stupid, that's the one that takes me out every time.
Dare to Be Stupid with Weird Al Yankovic. And as John pointed out before we got on here, they censor the song, which is a weird place to put censorship in. It's like,
Yeah, they cut the line, put your head in the microwave, and give yourself a tan.
yeah, which, in a movie where we're literally ripping people in half or like threatening to melt a child down for spare parts, I feel like that's a weird bridge to draw.
Of everything, yeah. It's a, to be fair, in that scene, it's just so weird in general. Like, well, why are we dancing to Weird Al again?
We also get another new character, Cup, who introduces the universal greeting. Cup is our seasoned war veteran with his like cigar energy. But it's interesting. It was always interesting to me because Cup was never mentioned before this, but he's like the grizzled, tough veteran who's going to get this flashy little kid in line.
That's so weird. I presumed that Cup had been like a long, how everyone was treating him. I just kind of presumed he was like the long timer.
If you're not Blaster or Perceptor to a certain degree, there are very few of the original Transformers that make it through, like that aren't get any focus in this movie. I just going back a little bit, I do love that scene when Megatron, like Starscream's like, screw you, Megatron, and he walks away and he's like, Soundwave, don't leave me, and he picks up he's getting carried princess style, but then Rumble's running behind him with the fusion cannon in his arm.
I love that.
It's just such a great little moment. Like, but
I want to recut that with like romance music.
But Soundwave didn't say anything when Starscream was like, guess we're going to figure out who the real leader is. And we have to appreciate Starscream's crown and his cape that he had on deck, ready to go.
And apparently the Decepticon planet has a lot of trumpets lying around.
They were just and the one trumpet not going right. It's such a weird little scene, but it works so well. And of course, that is when Starscream becomes an immortal spark and how he ends up in Beast Wars.
In Beast Wars, he plays it a bit more than he should. That was not an on. I know he's like, I was betrayed, but that was quite a bad way to go out. Like,
yeah,
you got sucker punched by the guy in front of you. That takes effort.
Yeah. Oh, Galvatron. Galvatron is also at his most stable in this movie. When you get to season 3, Galvatron is so unstable that at one point, Cyclonus is like, hey man, we got to get you some help. And they actually send him to a planet to help with, insanity. And he's so crazy that he makes the planet go insane.
Moon craziness.
It's actually very funny. But yeah, like there's a lot going on in this movie. And I could talk about it until the cows come home, but you guys should talk about it too. I
do love Unicron's power to give you headaches. I think that's quite funny. Like whenever Megatron back talks, it's like, here, have a migraine.
Yeah.
I have to bring up Orson Welles' quote to his biographer about this film is one of the funniest things I've ever read. So
What's
this is
quote?
So you know what I did this morning? I played the voice of a toy. Some terrible robot toys from Japan that changed from one thing to another. The Japanese have funded a full-length animated cartoon about the doing of these toys, which is all bad outer space stuff. I play a planet. I menace someone called something or other, then I'm destroyed. My plan to destroy whatever it is thwarted, and I tear myself apart on screen.
At least that sequence struck a chord with him too. I'm happy to hear that.
Well, it will be fair to note that Orson Welles was quite sick when this was going on, so all of his stuff is recorded in one day. And if you note how heavy the synth thing is on his voice, it's because his voice was very weak. You do kind of get the impression from reading interviews is that they would not have gone forward with him if he wasn't Orson Welles.
It's so interesting because it's so I do think his performance as Unicron is like, it's Orson Welles, but I do think it's actually very good. Like, I think that there's something very actually scary about the way Unicron talks, and he was 3 days away from dying, which is very sad, but I don't know why. That voice always rung in my head as being genuinely terrifying.
I kind of think part of the reason I like it is that his clear derision for the concept. Like, he doesn't play to the Transformers-iness of it, which I think helps make Unicron feel like this big thing outside of this. Like, I don't really care if you're Decepticon or Autobot. Whatever, man. I need people to kill this thing for me. You'll do. Like, it's kind of almost eldritch. Like, Cthulhu does not care about puny mortals and what they're doing, apart from what it needs.
He's literally the robot devil. Like, that's what Unicron is that is the thing that you need to be afraid of, because hell is inside of him. He has the hell in him.
We see it.
We see it.
Yeah, with our eyes. We see with weird chomping noises.
weird chompy hell. Just like St. Peter said.
I do like the little teeth parts in his planet form that come out and just do the little.
It's like he's holding your planet politely.
Yeah.
It's Orson Welles. He's going to eat politely, damn it.
I was kind of waiting for the arms to go in and come back out like a knife and a fork at some point. Like, the space planet brings the wine. It's like, oh.
Yeah, our group is split up. They have to go to different places. They're trying to figure out how to unlock the matrix of leadership, and yeah, there's a
Turns out
lot.
just pull.
Yeah, you got to pull really hard.
Gotta flip the switch.
And Optimus Prime's voice has to tell you that you are worthy of wielding the power of Thor. That's really
I feel bad for Ultra Magnus in this, because when Optimus gives him the Matrix of Leadership, he's like, I'm not worthy. And Optimus is like, yeah, no, you're not, but I need you to hold this till someone else comes along, please. Like, he's really dismissive of it.
Yeah.
Which, like, he's right, worthy. But you're dying. Be at least polite to the guy.
One of my, like, Alyx, is this the first time we see a Transformer die on screen? Is this what originates we turn gray when we die?
This is what originates the color fading out from their bodies when they die. It's actually, man, I'm gonna get weird about this. It's the kind of thing that it has become such a popular recolor for certain toys. There is a dead Optimus Prime toy. I'm not joking.
Oh, I'm sure, of course.
Like that toy exists. I think it's a Takashi one, but it does exist. Yeah, no, this is where that really originates, because like the original Transformers cartoon, you couldn't kill people on screen in a Saturday morning cartoon in 1985. That wasn't going to happen.
Even a robot.
But yeah, this is where that originates, and then it actually became kind of a thing in the comics where it was like, oh, Megatron paints himself this color to remind people of death. Like, it's a silly thing from I can't remember who put that into the comic, but I do remember that being a thing at one point.
Nice.
They did Megatron getting a spray tan.
Yeah.
It is also interesting that after this phase of Transformers, Megatron stops being a gun because somebody at Hasbro was like, it would be like if Cobra Commander always needed somebody else to like throw him at people. We need to like fix this.
I love when Starscream I didn't realize people actually got to use him as a gun. I like that.
Yes, Starscream is the one who mainly uses the Megatron gun throughout seasons 1 and 2. Like,
reminds me of that other old meme. Jeeves, get me close into striking distance.
Starscream isn't actually trying to fire the gun, he's just trying to strangle Megatron.
Where's his neck? Talking of weird things, this was shown as season 5 of the TV show. It was split into 5 parts called Days. That's why this whole thing is a bit weirdly broken up, because it was designed to do this eventually. But to bulk these out, they have a weird framing device where it's a stop-motion Power Master Optimus Prime telling a story to a little boy called Tommy. Tommy, who wants to become a headmaster. I do not know what a headmaster is, and I'm afraid to Google it.
We don't have time to talk about the headmaster's phase of Transformers.
It's so funny, because it's like a stop-motion toy, Optimus Prime, so his mouth looks really weird. But he'll pick up Tommy on his hand and hold him up. And sometimes they'll cut to what is a model of Tommy, not a green screen. And the mannequin they have, if you've ever seen the film Sometimes in Michigan, it looks worryingly like that mannequin. The whole thing is especially funny because the very final episode, this day 5 as they call it, Tommy turns up and says, I can't remember the story we've told so far, Optimus. So Optimus recaps for 4 minutes. And somehow Optimus's recap left me more confused.
Gotta fill the airtime. Gotta fill that airtime. It's only an 85-minute film.
Yeah, I think it was Peter Cullen. It did sound, it was a very good impression, if not. I also would like to, obviously this film did really badly when it came out, the reviews were poor, but I would love to share with you what is now my favourite review I've ever read of a film by Scott Kane of the Atlantic Constitution. I'm offended that the Transformers is a 90-minute toy commercial. Even worse, it paints a future in which war is incessant. I saw the Transformers during a matinee at a packed theatre and never had the slightest clue as to what was taking place. Getting more irritable by the moment, I tried to console myself that perhaps this was like the Care Bears movie, and as a jaundiced adult, I needed a 7-year-old child to explain it to me. But no, after the movie was over, I asked several children if the Transformers made sense, and they assured me it didn't. They loved it anyway. Desperate for enlightenment, I plundered the studio's announcements. The DeLaurentiis Entertainment Group had obligingly provided a 4-page synopsis, and after reading it 20 times, I'm still not able to reconcile their summary with what I saw on screen. Scott, you are a man after my own heart. I love that. It's like, maybe I just need to ask a child. Asks children. No, no good.
But
I
everybody's
do
having
like that. I like that he described himself as jaundiced.
yeah, like that was what I was thinking too. Like, Brody, do you want to talk about it? Are you okay?
I admire his like dedication. Like I must. It feels like what I do. It's like I must understand this film. I don't like it, but I must understand it.
You have to be a scholar of all things Transformers to truly understand.
I should imagine
Before
like in his trilby going to random children like Scott Kane, Atlantic Constitution. Did you understand the film, kid?
the kid being like, no.
Yeah.
I'm from the
What are you
1940s
talking
for some
about,
reason.
right?
No, I was listening to The Touch the entire time.
You got
And a score by Vince DiCola, who scored Rocky 4. The
and
Stallone connections continue.
an instrument of destruction by NRG, which is a crazy pull. Like, what an insane thing to put in a kids movie. And
NRG and Weird Al dream blunt rotation.
honestly, listen, we don't need to talk about the blunts that have been passed watching this movie because we all know they have. But before we get into final thoughts, I do have to ask,
Mm.
in this movie, who is your favorite Transformer?
I mean, I'm always gonna have a soft spot for Optimus, even though he's only in the first third. I'm not the biggest Hot Rod guy, as much as they try to impose him on on the audience.
That's a good way to describe Hot Rod.
Yeah. I mean, Galvatron is a cool. I always thought was a cool upgrade to Megatron. Yeah, it's really those two.
See, for me, my favorite Transformer has always been RC. Even though I know nothing about her, I just like her big round head and her big jet engines. I think it's just a cool design. But she got usurped in this film by Astro Train, who is a Transformer that becomes a JNR class D-51 steam engine from the 1930s. What I love is the entire thing is it's a Night on the Galactic Railroad gag. That's why it becomes a rocket and a train, because it's a reference to a very specific fairy tale with a horribly depressing ending.
I love Astro Train.
Astro Train is the literary choice for my new favourite Transformer, and I'm getting a toy the second I see one.
They're going to be looking for a minute. I mean, Blaster is always my 100% favorite. I do have a very soft spot in my heart for Ultra Magnus in this movie, because I agree he gets the short end of the stick the entire time, and you can tell he's just trying to keep everybody together. But it is time for some final thoughts, my friends.
Oh,
So yeah,
I mean, Super 80s, love it. You know, it really, for me, it encapsulates the appeal of Transformers, though it is like laughably lethal. Like, people like right from the first opening attack, or we're seeing, or the movie opens up with a genocide. I can't stress that enough. Like, it's people die in this, and maybe that says something about me, where I'm like, this is my favorite Transformers thing, man. Like, I'm just like, bring it on.
bring it
Yeah,
on.
no, I for me, it's kind of like this time capsule that I love to go back to every now and again.
While this film is quite hard to follow in points, especially if you don't know Transformers, there's a lot of proper nouns thrown around. I had a really good time with it. There is, despite all its flaws, there's something just kind of fun about it. Part is it just keeps moving, so you never really have time to sit with how odd things are getting. It's just a lot of fun. Obviously, it's not going to change your opinion of cinema. This isn't Orson Welles' best performance, but it is the best performance he did as a giant planet. So that's something. Yeah, I'm glad I finally got around to watch this, and I can kind of see why all my friends became obsessed with Transformers after this. I can see why, if I was a little kid, this would become like a new thing for me.
My personality, I based part of my personality on Transformers. Like, I cannot stress that enough. I love this movie from start to finish. I know it doesn't make sense in a lot of places. I know that it is very violent, and I know that it has a lot of, like, the 5 seconds we spend with the human characters are the worst parts of the movie, in my opinion. But I think that this is a movie that people should see. Even if you're not a big Transformers fan, if you like music videos, you are going to like this movie. Because at the end of the day, there is a big chunk of this movie that is dedicated to making the best music videos for the weirdest songs ever. Like, Dare has a great music video. Instruments of Destruction is a great music video. Like, Dare to Be Stupid is a weird music video, but it's there. Like, but yeah, that is really it's a great movie. If you even if you don't like it, it's very fun, and 80 minutes is not gonna kill you. But that being said, we have pulled into our final destination. That is right. It is time for us to disembark from Toonami Absolution. We want to thank you once again for joining us and talking about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. We have been your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John.
And Autobots, it's time to roll out.